And look who's back. And although you don't know it, this is a take 3. Yes, this is my third attempt to make what should have been a very simple video. But, this is how I roll. Let's see what happens this time. The first time I did it on my regular laptop, which belongs to my wife, but she ran out of space because she never ever deletes anything. The second time I did it on this laptop, but the battery died right in the middle of it. That video was worth keeping. Maybe I'll tack it on the end of this. Here it is, third attempt. I don't know what could possibly go wrong now. I hear the dog already stirring up in the other room, so maybe we'll have him howling in the background as he goes deeper into doggy dementia. Okay, I'm not sure what I'm going to title this yet, so I don't know if this is a big reveal, but here it is. It was new gun day again. Got myself another Ruger, and actually it's a replacement. I'm decommissioning one of my guns here, the old LCP II, which I lovingly called my program compliance gun. Served me well. Relatively, very reliable, I guess. A bit of a handful. It's a small gun for hands like mine. We all know the shortcomings of an LCP II. Also, these awful, what I call them fuck you sights. This is basically the sights that a manufacturer puts on their gun when they're basically saying fuck you. I mean, they're milled into the frame. You can't really do anything with them. The nail polish was my own addition, although it's not my nail polish. And I did what I can. But overall, what I've said, I've spoken maybe volumes about this gun. It's program compliance. There's no reason not to carry this thing around with you. It's so small, disappears in a pocket holster, disappears in any kind of holster. And, that's the upside of it. It weighs next to nothing. I'm going to do weights and measures soon. It weighs next to nothing, and it is what it is. The downside is that, the sights, the aforementioned sights, but also it's a 6+1, 380, nobody's favorite caliber. And when you're getting into calibers like that, it's just 6+1 is about as minimal as I'd have it. This would always lose out to my Smith and Wesson J frame, the 357 revolver, because 6+1 of 380, I'd rather have 5 of 357 Magnum with all the implied reliability that comes with a revolver. But with that said, I've been carrying this a lot lately because it's just so easy. It disappears on you. There's no reason why not to have a gun. So what did I get? Well, I replaced it with, was it the same goddamn gun? And let me make this safe for you. Replaced it with an LCP Max. I think I might have mentioned that I was going to do this at some point in the past, and this was my reasoning behind it. As far as I'm concerned, you're losing almost nothing in size and weight when you're going to an LCP Max. The weights and measures are going to bear that out. Man, I'm getting old. The weights and measures are going to bear that out, I think, when I throw it on our scale here. But what do we gain with the LCP Max? Well, for me, quite a few things. This is now a 10+1. Okay, so 10+1 as opposed to a 6+1. I'll take that every time, especially with a small caliber like 380. I think in that particular case, more is better. Another big thing I like about this gun. Look at those sights, huh? Look at that. It's not the brightest tritium sight I've ever had in my life, but at least they're dovetailed in. I could swap them out, which I'm not going to do on this gun. They're low profile enough, and at least I have a big white dot to go for. And with these, this is the epitome of what I like to call a punch gun, meaning that I'm not hiding behind, like, I'm not a cop anymore. I'm not hiding behind a car engine block and putting 5 rounds down range of 75 feet. This is I'm defending myself, and it's going to be one of these, which is what you should do with 380 anyway. Hit him right around here, and the more the better when you're doing the whole panic fire thing when lead's slinging back and forth. LCP Max. That's basically the thing. I think what we're going to do now, before this is going to be a quick thing that I'm going to give you. I tested it for function. I've been carrying it. I think we're going to cut to weights and measures right now to really get an idea of what these things compared to each other, what we're gaining and losing. Well, you're losing nothing, but you might have to. You're losing maybe something in concealability. Are you really? We're going to check that out. I'm not going to use calipers because I'm not buying calipers for this nonsense, but I think we'll be able to tell when I do close-up comparisons of them. So let's cut to weights and measures, and then I'll come back for my thoughts on with limited carry, what I think about this gun. Going old school again. This is my half-assed version of weights and measures. Overall comparison in size. What are we gonna do here? Let's try and measure them up barrel to barrel. I mean, is there any, maybe this one's the Max is a little bit longer? Yes, slightly longer. Wider in the grip. Let's see if we can measure up those barrels. Honestly, is it even longer? This might just be exactly the same size. I wonder if the slides are interchangeable. Not that I would ever do that. But there's what are you really losing here? A little bit wider in the grip, which I'll get back to on my thoughts when I wrap this up. But there we go. Let's take a look at the LCP with its magazine. 10.8 ounces. And then with, I'm not going to make you wait through this. Hold on. Total weight loaded, 13 ounces even. That's firearm, magazine, and 7 rounds, 6 plus 1, 13 ounces even. Okay, let's see how we make out with the LCP Max. LCP Max, 10.6 ounces. I mean, is that even a weight gain that we're concerned about here? Now I'm going to stop again. I'll load up my 10 plus 1. We'll see what the total weight of this is. And load it up in your pocket, on your belt, 14.1 ounces total. All right, that concludes our weights and measures portion. Let's get back to the video. Actually, one more weights and measures. I wanted to get this view also. This is them stacked on top of one another. You see, with the finger dingle that I have to keep on this on this LCP II, it's really the only real difference in size, at least from the profile, is the flat magazine on the LCP Max. The dingle actually makes the LCP II originally almost as big, and I'll explain that in my recap now. Wasn't that fun? So what did we learn? Well, we learned a couple of things. We learned that, number one, the LCP II is 10.8 ounces empty with magazine, and the LCP Max, through some type of strange black magic, is 10.6 ounces empty with the magazine. This is lighter. I don't know how or why that happened, but it certainly did happen. The next thing we learned, that loaded the LCP II is 13 ounces even with 7 rounds, and 14.1 ounces with 11 rounds, 1.1 ounces heavier altogether with a 10 plus 1 type of gun. I think we see where we're going with this. I mean, this was an absolute no-brainer. Maybe one more weights and measures. There really seems to be no difference in width, and to prove, except with the grip. But to prove that, this is the inside the waistband holster I've been carrying this LCP II in since I got it, and LCP Max, it fits. The only difference is this grip is a little bit wider, which leads me to another added benefit. During the weights and measures program, I said that although this is how the LCP II comes, this was just not working for me. I could barely even get the ring finger of my circus bear hands even beyond this thing, and it was unusable for me. This is a gun that honestly it's like a one finger grip for me. It's honestly too small. That's why I immediately had to go with this. And that works. I can at least lock, even though it's pinching it, I can lock this other finger in there. It's still barely a 2-finger grip, but this is what I had to do. And this thing, it's not the greatest for concealability. It's not the greatest for holstering. It's just not the greatest all around. Why did I just do a cutaway there? I don't fucking know. My camera just stopped. Anyway, let's try and pick it up because I'm not going to redo that whole segment. I said, this was not the greatest all around for a concealability gun, and it wasn't even really that good for me when it was working. This, if the camera can keep going, this, because of it's only a little bit bigger, as we see with the dongle on there. It's not really called a dongle, but with the dongle on there, you're only picking up that much, and it's all in the front even. But because this is wider, I think I alluded to this in my video with my M360 Smith & Wesson J-frame. I said the grip I put on it, the Hogue grip, is just kind of wide. It's almost like grabbing a doorknob. This, it's still small, but for some reason I can get the solid two fingers on it because this takes the place of the dongle, and it's wider. It lets me at least wrap my hand a little bit about it. I had no problem controlling this to the range, and also, although it came with unboxing, right? Although it came with the usual crap, it even came with a little loader, which that's just okay. It came with the finger thing. Don't need it. Don't want it. Let's say, you know me. I don't willingly put grip extenders or extra crap on a deep concealment gun anyway if I can avoid it. So this, I can just run this as is out of the box, good to go as it is. So that's, that's basically that. In my mind, I'm losing absolutely nothing by going to this, which I think is a proven platform. I like this. Why not go with this? Oh, another added thing. It's got these like the dog ear things on it that I never use. But I guess some people, you could do that deal on it if you want. Me personally, the years of training, we always did over the top like that. But I guess if you wanted to use the pinch method, you could do it. So trigger pull is LCP II. It feels pretty much exactly the same. So what do I do with it? There's going to be a range video coming, and I guess maybe I'll do a comparison for whatever reason. If any of you are really interested in comparing two of pretty much the same gun, what I discovered at the range is that this does not like the bullshit range ammo that I was just testing for function with, the Winchester White Box 90 grain full metal, ball rounds. Didn't like them. They weren't really a ball round. They had like a flat tip, and it was weird. Maybe I was the way I was loading the magazine or something. When they failed, it had the same failure each time when it didn't like them. It didn't go fully into battery. So each time I fire nothing, I just hit it with a thumb and put it back into battery. If I did a lot of magazines. If I put 10 magazines of that through, 8 of those 10 magazines fired all 10 rounds flawlessly. And 2 of them, when it happened, the whole magazine was fakaked. It would do it the whole time. I'd have to do that magazine, take it out, I'd reload it, and it would either work or it wouldn't work. Odd. Maybe it's a magazine issue. Maybe it just doesn't like, look, we get so used to guns nowadays that no break-in periods, semi-autos are as reliable as revolvers. We don't expect things. But, listen, some semi-autos are a little ammo sensitive, and this might be one of them. The good news is my carry ammo that I put about 20 rounds through it, flawless. It feeds these every single time, so I don't have any real worries about carrying it. What I am going to do though is I'm going to pick up another box of cheap ammo and see if it is a break-in issue. It only comes with one magazine. I already used my 20% coupon to get more magazines for it. So maybe this is just kind of a wonky magazine. It doesn't like that ammo, but I'll get to the bottom of it. In the meantime, though, it runs my quality carry ammo just fine. So I'm not really concerned about it. But it really, seeing as how this would feed crap, this one doesn't want to feed crap. At least brand new out of the box. So we'll see how that goes. Other than that, I went to the range and it fired just like I expected it to. The sights are a vast improvement. And I know a gun this size, how much you're really using your sights. You're probably not when it's going to be used how it's intended to be used. But again, I was always trained to pick up that front sight. At least, one of the techniques they said, when you run your finger down the slide, down the trigger, one of the tactics they taught us on the job was, point at what you're shooting. At the very least, you're going to be kind of the same. Just act as if you're pointing it, only you're pointing, with this finger. Point, point, point. Or pick up that front sight if you can. Put the front sight on your target. That's what they preach to us. That's what made me run into trouble with the red dot I put on that my GP 100. I'm always looking for that front sight. I cannot undo 30 years of training. I'm always looking for that front sight, and that red dot was constantly screwing me up. This gun, no matter what, I can't see this front sight. It's just not there, Whereas this one obviously picks up much more, glowing or not glowing, white ring or not, it picks it up much more. So that's where we stand now. I'm going to go to the range on this, and I'll let you know how this works for me. But it comes with the pocket holster as well. All the holsters fit. It's wintertime now. I'm going to, I've been carrying this a lot lately because it's just so easy to conceal as I've transitioning from, less of a hero mindset to more of a I'm carrying a gun just to protect myself mindset, especially when it comes to New York City. I'll touch a little bit on that later. When it comes to New York City, I'm just carrying to protect myself at this range. And you know what? This is a gun that there's no reason not to have it on you, and I always will. This or its revolver equivalent. Um, Other than that, we'll hopefully I can get back to making some videos again. Hopefully, I will be able to find some place to let me run that chronograph, and hopefully, I'll be able to do some shooting with There's not an ammo shortage in New York. You can get ammo for just about anything. The problem is it's very hard to find the ammo that you want. Like these American gunners here, I have boxes of them, but I do want to replenish my supply of them, and they're very hard to find all over the place. I don't know. That's kind of a new thing. Even my go-to shop where I used to live, I could take a run out there, and they'll generally have everything, but it's a little harder to find specifically what you want if you have a favorite brand. If you just want to walk into a gun shop and buy 357 Magnum, they'll have boxes of it. You want to buy 380, they'll have boxes of it. Is it going to be what you want? Probably not. And of course, this is New York. You can't order anything online. And now, hear the dog? And now, thanks to our accidental governor, who became our real governor because the greatest danger facing New Yorkers last election apparently was abortion rights. That and building a new stadium for the Buffalo Bills. Now, when New York, if you want to just buy a box of ammo, they do a background check on you, like a federal background check. You got to show your license, and they run you. They run your name as if you're buying a firearm. Oh, by the way, it's an additional fee because that's going to fight crime. Oh, what the hell was that? Hard edit, and I'm in a different shirt because it's a different day. That was at the point of the video where I was about to go off on a rant about what it's like to live in New York and work in New York City. I know I say it, yet I always do it. I don't want this to become the Yankee Marshal. I don't want this to be a political channel. So I'm going to throw all that stuff out because all I do is basically talk about how difficult it is to actually buy a firearm. Even as a retired police officer of almost 30 years, who's been vetted by all kind of state and federal agencies for the access I used to have. Now, after I retired, I'm in danger of becoming a domestic terrorist or a street thug. So the gyrations I have to go through from our accidental governor, that she keeps adding more steps to buying a gun to, it was frustrating. It was fresh in my head. Plus, there's other stuff going on in New York City that's always goddamn frustrating. So I'm going to skip that part and go to just a couple more final thoughts about this thing, and then we're going to say goodbye. I want to touch base on two things. One unfortunate thing is the takedown. To take this gun apart, I'm not going to do it. You still need a brass case or a screwdriver, just like the original LCP II. Never my favorite. I don't think you should need a tool to field strip your gun. That's just me personally. I know it's not the biggest thing. It probably as it works and you maybe get a nail or anything to do it. But to be honest with you, again, I was raised on Glocks. Two things, pull it back and the fucking thing's apart. This is a loaded gun, by the way. The other thing I want to touch on was the range problems that I alluded to. I honestly, before that, with the dongle, how it comes out, the dongle, I keep pulling a dongle on the LCP II came out to about here and then it cut back up. Honestly, yeah, this part of the grip is a little bit longer, but again, to make it usable, I still would have had to have that dongle on the LCP II. So what's the difference about this? And at least it's not a hook thing. And the hook thing I noticed with the pocket hole, I'd hook it on my pocket, or it would always hook on something with that little thing that came out. So this is a much better solution, much better ergonomically. But back to the malfunction issues. If you notice right here, I'll do it this way, how easy it is to just pop it in, even, like that with the heel of my hand. When I first took this out of the box, I first few magazines, I could not just hit it in like that. I just couldn't do that. It wouldn't actually work. I'd have to do it and really squeeze it in. So I'm thinking the problems I was having with the low with the every so often it would always be one particular magazine full, then the next magazine fine, then a go, then another magazine. It was always with the range ammo, always with that kind of a flathead round metal full metal jacket thing, as opposed to these which fed easily. I'm thinking just the absolute brand newness of the magazine mixed with the fact that the gun really was just out of the box. And although whenever I buy a gun, I break it down, I do a light rub down, and I will oil some parts. It's not a thorough cleaning, and also it's not working in. And semi-autos, some do. The cheaper ones might have to have a little of a break-in period to just make sure everything is. Hell, look at my Sig 365. That apparently its break-in regimen is scuffing up the fucking chamber. So maybe I think as I'm working it, as it came towards the end of my range cycle, things were working smoother. I think maybe the spring on this was starting to work, and I think maybe for the first few magazines at a time, it was really so tough to get the damn thing in there that maybe stripping one off the top it had such friction to it, along with the flat head on the range ammo, was causing it some problems because now it's not even it's much easier. So I don't expect a lot of problems. I do want to put some cheap ammo through it, just to see if it's going to be a sensitive gun. But I think it's going to be okay. And again, it always loaded my carry stuff easily. So that's really the end. I'm skipping over the whole aspect of the bitching about the absolute shithole New York City is voting itself into. Maybe I'll do that. I'll tack that into after the range thing. So I'll close it on that with my red shirt, and hopefully get this video out soon, and then we'll get a range cycle going, and we'll have more stuff to talk about. Thanks for the views. Thanks for watching. Keep commenting, even though I don't do very much, and see you later.